Bismillah ir-Rahman ir-Rahim. For centuries, the Prophet Noah brought his message directly to the doorsteps of his people. In response, they wrapped their garments around their heads and pressed their fingers into their ears, an entire civilization deciding, by physical act, to shut the world out. The setting now shifts to a rocky valley called Nakhla. It is night. The Prophet Muhammad is standing alone, reciting the Quran quietly to himself. He isn't summoning a crowd or performing for an audience. A small, wandering band of unseen creatures, the Jinn, happen to pass by. They catch the sound in the air and stop walking. The message that was blocked at the threshold for a lifetime is caught once, sideways, in the dark. This is a chapter about being changed by what you did not go looking for. The Prophet was entirely unaware of his audience. He only learned that the Jinn had been standing there later, when revelation reported their own words back to him. The Jinn describe a state of ajab, a profound astonishment. They tell one another they have heard a recitation that stops the breath, something that broke the category of everything they had heard before. This shock led them to confess how they had gone wrong. They describe an old practice where frightened travelers, benighted in lonely valleys, would call out for protection from the master of the valley, the resident Jinn. The Quran calls this bargain rahak, an added weight. As shown, the safety dome inverts, pressing down. The refuge becomes the load. Research confirms this. Seeking false superstitions during stress doesn't resolve fear. It recruits more anxiety, adding psychological burden. Seeking shelter in these false protectors does not shield the heart. It traps it under a heavier weight. To the mystics, this isn't just an account of a night in a valley. It is a map of the heart's capacity to receive. Al-Qushayri distinguished samia, passively hearing, from istamia, actively leaning toward a sound to receive it. As shown, the difference is the inward turn. Grace does not force its way into the ear. It waits for the one willing to lean. Al-Ghazali described the heart as a vessel. He argued that a sound does not create a new state so much as it pours into the readiness a person is already carrying. This state of readiness closely mirrors what modern psychology calls the small self. When we encounter something vast that we cannot immediately categorize, our felt sense of self-importance diminishes. In this diminished state, participants in awe studies become significantly less defensive. By feeling smaller in the face of something grand, they become more willing to revise their existing beliefs. The Jinn were able to admit they were wrong precisely because the wonder of the recitation made them small enough to listen. Consider your own listening. Where in your life have you stopped being able to be surprised? What subject have you decided you already fully understand? Is there a comfortable assumption you have never examined? A false shelter you run to that only makes you feel heavier when you leave? Try this practice for 7 nights. Before sleep, sit for the length of 3 slow breaths and do nothing but listen to the room, the street, or your own breath. Do not listen for a message. Simply practice the inward turn, the difference between hearing sounds and leaning toward them. Lord, who takes no partner and needs no child, unbolt the door of my ear. Let me be the one who overhears and cannot pretend he didn't. Keep me astonishable. Take the weight I gathered at the wrong refuge. And when a true thing passes me in the dark, let me lean toward it before I understand it. These insights were compiled by Mir Ali Shah for the Living the Wisdom of the Quran series. We ask you to overlook any AI-generated mispronunciations. We pray for divine acceptance and peace.